2. There are many railroad men still living who knew and worked with Jones. The affection he aroused among his acquaintances seemed to be an outstanding characteristic. He was 6 feet 4.5 inches tall, dark-haired and gray-eyed. An excellent photograph of him, which has just come to light in the Memphis Press Scimitar, is reproduced as a frontispiece of this issue. His old friend, R.E. Edrington, a fellow engineer in the Illinois Central, writes, "The reputation which Casey enjoyed was richly earned by numerous feats of resourcefulness, skill, and downright daring. He could perform feats with his famous 638 that no other engineer could equal with locomotives of the same class or even with the same engine. Firing for him was back-breaking and hair-raising job, but his mulatto foreman, Sim Webb, was equal to every demand, and held Casey in almost idolatrous regard, following him from one to another in his entire career." A.J. Fatty Thomas, who often ran as conductor on trains pulled by Casey in the 638, writes, "I've often heard the song about Casey Jones on the account of the phrases in it of the Southern Pacific and Santa Fe, Rounder, Frisco, and another pop on the Salt Lake. I never figured that the song was intended for my Illinois Central Casey, for he was not a rounder but a car roller, and in my estimation the prince of them all. We had a number of fast men, and since I have a bad hundred of good engineers pull me on different western roads, but I've never met the equal of Casey Jones in rustling to get over the road." The whistle moan in the song is right. Casey would just about play a tune on the whistle. He can make the cold chills run up your back with it, and grin all the time. Everybody along the line knew Casey Jones's whistle. I never saw him with his mouth closed. He always had a smile and a broad grin. The faster he could get his engine to roll, the happier he was. He would lean out the cab window and watch his drivers, and when he got going as fast as the side roads took solid, he could make you grin all over, happy as a boy with the first pair of red boots. Yet he had a reputation as a safe engineer. With all his fast running, I never knew him piling them up, but a few derailments and never rear-ended. He was either lucky, or else his judgment was nearly as perfect as human judgment can be." Ed Pacey, another conductor who knew Casey Jones, writes, "In the early days of railroading, there was a real glamour on the rails, and to this setting Casey, the engineer of the Cannonball Express, fitted perfectly. He was a giant and came of a great railroad family. His nickname was derived from his native village, Casey, Tennessee, pronounced Casey. Jones was famous for two things. He was a teetotaler in the days when abstinence was rare, and he was the most daring of all engineers in the days when schedules were simply get there and make a time or come to the office and get your time." Mr. Pacey lodges a protest against the popular song's line in effect of Casey Jones's widow informed her orphan children that "you've got another pop on the Salt Lake line." Mr. Pacey chafes at the implied disrespect toward Mrs. Jones in that stanza. "There never was another pop on the Salt Lake or any other line," he says. "Instead, the widow devoted her life for the hard struggle to maintain herself and educate her 3 children." The common story of the wreck in which Jones was killed is that Casey had to meet 2 freight trains which were too long to clear the siding. For some reason, never clearly explained, Casey failed to stop, and he piled them up when he struck the caboose and cars protruding out on the main line. According to R.E. Edrington, however, the situation was even more complicated. "It was characteristic," he says, "of the desperate chances which were part of the period of railroading, when the engines were rapidly growing in size and the sidings, safety equipment, and other appliances not keeping pace with them. There were not 2 but 3 trains. 2 of these were northbound and pulling into the siding. The third was racing, and a short time ahead of the Cannonball. As this train scurried down the siding, it dropped off a flagman, but after it pulled down, the flagman rode in with his idea that another train would protest against the Cannonball. But the other train crew thought that he was still out and did not flag. So Casey came down as fast as he could turn a wheel, with the result of one of the worst wrecks in the history of the road.